everybody gets serenaded on their jobs every single day, but I do. They sing to me as I'm coming in. Colin, so sweet. Welcome back to American Sunrise. I'm Dr. G. Thanks for joining us this morning. We invite you to join in our conversation on Getter and Rumble. It is time now to take the political pulse of America. The beat today, dissent and disrespect. Kristi Noem, the Homeland Security Secretary, was denied entry to a public building in Illinois. Her team stopped at a village hall just to use the restroom. A man held the door shut, if you can even imagine. Illinois officials, that's not just rude because of her title, that's rude because she's a woman. Like, who does that? Illinois officials say she showed up unannounced, but last we checked, you don't need an appointment to use a restroom. I don't know, guys, your thoughts on this. I find it personally offensive. I don't know what you think, but where is chivalry? Forget that she is who she is and that she has been trusted by the president of the United States, right, to do her job. But the fact that a guy would hold a restroom door, access to a restroom closed to any woman, to me is completely offensive, David.
Well, okay, woman or man, honestly, and quite frankly, a man in his 50s who might have a few issues, if you know what I'm saying. But the point is that, sorry, I went there. All right, a little too close to home, quite frankly.
That hit home, David. I'm sorry. You'll have to excuse me. I've got to run real quick. Mother Nature calls.
Yeah, let's just quickly transition and pivot from what I just said. Hopefully no one will remember, and hopefully the cameras weren't rolling. But so speaking of the cameras rolling, to me, it's interesting that they had the cameras rolling here for this. So clearly, my guess is they were denied entry. They tried again and said, on the try again, we're gonna roll the cameras on this, to document it. And good for them that they document it. It's ridiculous, T. Bates.
Yeah, and for me, this comes down to, first of all, it's a public building, so people should be, allowed access. If it was after hours, that's something else. But this is also a cabinet secretary. It's Secretary Noem.
Right.
Like, Dr. Gina, I get your point about chivalry. But I'm going to set chivalry to the side for a moment and just say this is a cabinet secretary. Right is right. Even if the building is closed, if someone is in there, you open up the door for her to let her in and do whatever she needs to do. What if, would this person have done the same thing if she were in danger? Say there was someone shooting potentially or a threat against her. Do you hold the door closed? No, she's a cabinet secretary. Open up, let her in.
Yeah, I think set this cabinet secretary thing aside and just basic chivalry. But anyway, there's this. Noem taking a swing at the NFL over its pick of Bad Bunny for the 2026 halftime show, saying ICE will be at the Super Bowl enforcing the law. Take a listen.
What is your message to the NFL? What is your message to Bad Bunny? Will there be ICE enforcement at the Super Bowl?
There will be, because the Department of Homeland Security is responsible for keeping it safe. So I have the responsibility for making sure everybody goes to the Super Bowl, has the opportunity to enjoy it and to leave, and that's what America is about. So yeah, we'll be all over that place. And we're going to enforce the law. So I think people should not be coming to the Super Bowl unless they're law-abiding Americans who love this country.
And your message to the NFL with this decision? It seems like they were trying to send a message to the Trump administration.
Well, they suck, and we'll win, and God will bless us, and we'll stand and be proud of ourselves at the end of the day, and they won't be able to sleep at night because they don't know what they believe, and they're so weak. Well, we'll fix it.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Secretary.
Woo, a little strong for the left to take there, T.
Yeah, I'm like, I almost feel like the deck is stacked against her. Of course, that's her job, is to help secure the Super Bowl and any sort of event like this. And so what she's saying is, we're going to do our job. We're going to secure it. If there are people who are here illegally, then they're going to be arrested. But we're not going there just for that. We're going there to secure this massive event, which is the job they're supposed to be. And I feel like people are making a mountain out of a molehill, David.
And just to be clear, so everybody understands the whole Bad Bunny thing, right? So he's from Puerto Rico. He's a big reggaeton superstar down there. And quite frankly, a lot of his music is very popular in America. He will not do concerts in America because he knows, he has said this publicly, that if he does a concert in America, he believes that ICE will be there to round up some of the folks that are going to the concerts. And you know what? He's right. Trust me, he's right. And so that's the controversy. But Gina, I know you're devastated that he is not touring the U.S. So I wanted to, lay that down gently for you. So take it, whatever you need to do to
Here's
take
the
it down a
deal.
notch.
I usually try to do homework on issues, if they're a little unfamiliar to me for this show. I haven't even bothered. I still don't know who they are. I still don't care who they are. I'm used to the left doing woke things like this. And I honestly, I just don't care. And
But you love bunnies. You love bunnies, though, overall.
I do love bunnies. Thank you, David. I actually
they
have
good or
2
bad?
rescue bunnies at home. They're senior bunnies. One is blind. They are so cute.
we
I wish
go.
you guys could see my bad bunnies. They're really cute. All right. We're gonna,
So, the challenge will be when it comes to the whole immigration thing, I would think that the challenge would be in a crowd like the size that typically goes to the Super Bowl, identifying someone. And so I suspect that the focus will be on general law enforcement. Excuse me. And if that general law enforcement capacity happens to yield or send agents across someone who's in this country illegally, then of course the law enforcement would move on that as well. But it seems to me, and David, please, if you have more information, do correct me. It seems to me that the primary job of ICE and anybody else who would be deployed to the Super Bowl would be a public safety function in general, which if it happens to net an illegal immigrant, then of course they will deal with that as well.
Yeah, that's part of it. But I'll just be quick on this, which is that they'll have tips. They'll have tips of who's there. They're not, they're not looking for necessarily just people that are showing up randomly. They're looking for certain people that they'll know that would be there. We got to move, but yeah.
yeah, and I do name my rescue bunnies after people in our chat, just saying. All right, changing gears now. My bad bunnies. Tomorrow marks 2 years since October 7th attack, when Hamas terrorists slaughtered more than 1,200 Israelis and took over 240 hostages. Some still remain captive. This is just almost unthinkable. Joining us now is someone who has lived through the personal hell of what it is like for your loved ones to be one of the kidnapped. Liz Hirsch Nitfali is the great aunt of released little 3-year-old Israeli hostage, Abigail Mor-Iran. She is now a hostage advocate, and she is author of Saving Abigail. Liz is also the host of the Capital Coffee Connection podcast. Liz, you've been on the front lines of this cause. Your little great niece, 3-year-old Abigail Mor-Iran, was among those taken and later freed. As this anniversary approaches, what do you want Americans to remember?
Well, first, thank you for having me. And I want Americans to remember that October 7th was a terror attack. And it did happen in Israel, and it happened to my family. My niece and her husband were 2 of the 1,200 who were slaughtered by these Hamas terrorists, and Abigail, 3 years old, was one of 250 who were kidnapped. But there are thousands of stories. And the paragliders that you're showing there actually landed into our kibbutz, into our community. And my nephew, before he was murdered, took photos of them. And so I just want people to understand this is real. These are true stories. And we've been so focused, and rightfully so, on bringing home all of the hostages. There are still 48. But what I want people to know is that tomorrow marks, it's not even an anniversary because it's so sad. And it marks a terror attack in Israel. And people need to know this could happen anywhere if we allow it to happen one place.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. So Liz, what about some of what's recently been going on? President Trump saying Sunday, 6 p.m., that's come and gone, that deadline. But they're in Egypt now discussing all of this. How do you make sense of this all, and what do you hope comes from this? I mean, do you really think, I can't imagine Hamas, Hamas is going to agree to all of these 21 points?
Look, the first thing we have to do is get the hostages home. And there's 20 points, but I think that the focus, and I believe that President Trump, since January 20th, when we as hostage families stood on stage of the inaugural rally, confirmed and kept repeating his commitment to bringing home the hostages with Steve Witkoff and others in his administration. And here we are now, and since March, there hasn't been a release of hostages. What is good about this one is that he has the support of the European nations and the Gulf nations that are all saying that the hostages have to be released and Hamas has to go. And what we also see is that he has put pressure on Prime Minister Netanyahu to get to a place where he has the political will, and he has the ability to get the Qataris and other Gulf nations to put pressure on Hamas. And the other piece is there are 48, all of them will come out, and there will be prisoners with blood on their hands that will come out too. But that at this moment, President Trump is 100% committed, and that is the thing that we need in order to get this deal to go forward.
How confident are you that this deal will be lasting? I'm not going to lie, and I don't want to put my perspective on you, but I have very little faith in anything that Hamas says. I suspect you have a similar perspective, but please, I don't want to speak for you.
Yeah, no, listen, on when Abigail's release took place, there was a ceasefire. And on the first day, she did not get released, but other women and children did. So you were like, okay, great, we're moving. Second day, she wasn't released, but we also saw women and children being released. She was released on the third day, but until you see your loved one in the arms of family and in the arms, I didn't see, until I saw Abigail in my niece and my sister-in-law's arms, I didn't believe it was true. But then it broke down after 5 or 6 days. Hamas broke down, Israel broke down, and there were no hostage releases for a year and a half. And then again, at the end of March of 2025, it stopped. And so what I know is that, yes, we are dealing with a terrorist organization. But what I also can just keep reminding people is that we have President Trump working day in and day out with Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner and Marco Rubio and that team. And they are focused on bringing home 48 people to end this war and stop the fighting.
Liz, we only have about 15 seconds, but I have to ask how your little sweet niece is doing and how's your family?
Yes.
Thank you for asking. Look, my family, one day at a time, it's a trauma, it's a tragedy. These parents are not coming back, but they're being raised by my niece and nephew and their kids. And it's a family of 6 beautiful children. Abigail started first grade. She's a beautiful child. All of these cousins that are now siblings have been through trauma, but you know what? They are loved, and we are giving them everything they can to be able to have a future that we want for all of our children. So thank you.
Liz, thank you. Love to your family. Prayers for the remaining hostages. The day of terror tomorrow, not an anniversary of any sort. A great reminder, Liz. Thank you so much.
Thanks,
you.
Liz.
All right, still to come, faith and family and filet mignon. Find out how a North Carolina steakhouse is serving miracle moments. This just ahead when American Sunrise continues.